What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the farm. Time for a weekly update here. Oh man, check it out. No snow on the ground for the first time now in a few videos that I've done. Actually, every video I've done so far this year for the farm vlog has had snow on the ground. So this is the first one that doesn't. Let me darken that up just a little bit. Oh man, so checking some things out here. The ground, we've been frozen for a while. The ground is starting to thaw out pretty well now, but it's getting kind of nasty. Go over here and check some things out real quick. So I've got a cover crop, a winter food plot for wildlife over here on top of the ridge. See my house back there behind me? Well, over here on top beside the house, I've got I'm trying to see if I remember how long this thing was. I think it's about 100 yards by 10 yards is the one food plot right here. And now I gotta get darker again because I've came into more light. Anyway, checking on the status of this, the clover and all the chicory and winter wheat and everything I planted did not come up back over here in this back section. Spin around, but back over here, it's starting to come up a little bit, but the crimson clover, red clover, white clover is coming up in strips. It's not really making much sense as to what's going on. But over here's the other food plot that I had out this year over the winter, and it's doing much better. So this one back here, it's very dark green, really lush, and it's got a lot of different stuff in it. There's also a ton of deer tracks in here. So I need to get a camera up over this so we can see what's going on and see what kind of deer activity we're getting. There's a lot of deer tracks. But this is much, much greener. Part of what I'm doing, though, is I'm trying to figure out, I've always had, let me go over here and show you. For those of you that have seen our videos in the past, I have always had our onions growing back over here in our box beds. And if you've seen our videos, most of our gardens are in-ground gardens down at the bottom of the ridge, down toward my brother's house and over at my dad's house on other parts of the farm. But for our onions and for my early spring garden, I put it up here at the house in box beds. And I'll just kind of spin around and show you. There's the dog too. I got box beds back over here. And typically that's where what are you doing? Sadie, what are you doing? You menace. Anyway, what I'm thinking about this year is I'm thinking about coming in here. And not right here because I've got black walnut trees there, persimmon trees right over there. What I'm thinking about doing is coming over here with my plow. And for all you no-till folks, just cover your ears for this section because while I do some no-till stuff in certain parts of the farm, this up here is ground that is extremely rocky, has never really been worked or has not been worked in 50 plus years. It's very, very hard. So I'm going to have to come in with my turning plow. And I'm only going to turn it probably 6 to 8 inches deep. And the thought there is I'm going to come in here. I'm going to do like probably a 3 to 4 foot wide strip. That's going to be tough with the turning plow. I probably have to do it. I may have to do 5 or 6 feet. Just because that's the width that my tractor implements will allow me to do. And come in here and turn this over and work it up really good. Get it loosened up with my ripper and all that stuff after I do that. And then I think I may put my bulb onions in the ground over here because they have not done really well the past few years over here in the box beds. Even though I've checked the soil quality and all that sort of stuff, they're not producing and I don't know what's going on. And I'm thinking if I can put them out over here and if I can get row cover that is 50 feet long by 6 feet wide, I can actually stretch that over and make a little mini, or I can make a little mini hoop house kind of thing out of it. And that will allow me to grow my bulb onions over here beside the house. And then that'll leave my box beds for things like my Napa cabbage and Napa cabbage and radishes that do really well in the spring in the box beds. I've got to figure out why I'm not having any luck with the onions compared to years past, but I may actually put them right over in here, back in this section of the food plot cover crop area, because it does seem to be a little bit more lush and it works up a little bit more easily. And it's only 20 feet away, but that over there seems to have a lot more rock, and there's actually a rock shelf, a rock ledge or two that run across through there that I've hit before with the plow, and it catches on it and causes a big mess. So I don't know, that's what I'm struggling with right now to try to figure out, is trying to figure out exactly, you know, where I'm going to do that as far as my onions go. But I'll take you over here and give you a driveway update, the never-ending driveway saga. Before I get to the driveway, I just want to show you though. So this is all the same food plot cover crop area. See how green it is? Here comes the menace. The other side over there, Sadybug, the other side over there has very few rocks in it. But check this side here out. This side here is just covered in these great big rocks. I mean, look at that. We use these rocks all over the place up here. We've decorated with all kinds of rocks. And we there for a while. We host a lot of parties up here. There for a while, we were telling people that when they came up here, they had to take a rock home with them. So trying to find any way we can to get rid of rocks. But the other thing I could possibly do is I could probably work this area over here up. I've never worked that. I don't really know what it's going to do or be like, so I'm not really sure how to handle that, or if that will even work over there. I'm not sure how that ground will even work up. So, but I'm really thinking this spot back here behind me that I just showed you on the crest of the ridge, that's got really lush green winter cover crop on it. It's got clover and winter wheat and 3 different types of clover, actually. Winter wheat, chicory, and something else. I can't remember what else I planted up there, but it's all up in that area. So let's go over here and show you the driveway. Okay, walking down here to the driveway. So I got another load of rock delivered the other day. And you can look down there behind me. You can see it's starting to look better. What I was hoping for was I was hoping that the rock that was delivered would make it from that curve down there all the way up to right here behind me. Well, look at this. The rock stops right there, and I'm standing in all this mud stuff. They actually short-loaded the dump truck. When I called and asked for 11 ton of rock, and what they loaded him was 9 3/4 ton. Had they actually loaded him with what I had asked, then he probably would have made it all the way to where I'm standing now, which would have covered the whole section that I wanted. So what I had to do today is I had to come out here with the tractor and put the rock rake on it, which, oh, she's beeping the dog. Hang on. I've got her. Come on. Let's go, Sadie. They're trying to get you home. She's a dog. She's a 6-month-old pup in training, and she's kind of a terror at times. But we're taking her back over here to the house now. She's going to walk with me. Come on. Let's go, Sadie. Let's go. Anyway, what I had to do was I had to get the tractor started, which is tough when it's been so cold. I don't have an engine block heater on mine, so it's hard to get it started. But I did get it started. Got the rock rake on it. And usually, I'm dragging rock like this right here in my rock rake. And it's the perfect size because the teeth are spaced so that rocks like that distribute out evenly. Unfortunately, this last load of rock they brought me has mostly rock that size in it. That's bigger than the spacing in the teeth. So what happened is when I'm dragging the rock rake up through there, it's just dragging everything up, and it's not distributing it evenly like it normally does. So I ended up having to rake that driveway out by hand, which 9.75 ton of rock, large rock being raked by hand, is not a lot of fun. If you ever want to make a list of things that are fun to do, that will not be on it. So I had to do that to get it leveled out, because as he was coming up, when he would hit a bump or whatever, it would dump more rock out at one time. So it kind of created a pile, and it created little mounds that when you're coming up, when you hit them, you kind of, in a car, especially if you're coming up fast, and you hit them and you bump, you begin to washboard. When you hit it on a gravel driveway, when you hit a bump on a gravel driveway and you hop, every time you hop, it continues to create more and more and more of those little washboard ribs, basically, in the driveway, and it keeps getting worse and worse. So you kind of have to keep it under control. So a lot of times once a month, I'm dragging my driveway just to knock those washboards out, because a lot of people that aren't familiar with driving in gravel, they think that what you do is when you start going uphill on a gravel driveway, you floor it. And that's not what you do. You just have to maintain your momentum, maintain your speed. You don't really have to put the foot to the floor to that dog. You don't have to put your foot to the floor to make it up a hill on a gravel driveway. When you do that, you actually make the situation worse. So, Sadie, hey, I'm over here. Come here. She just ran right behind me. Silly dog. All right, well, that's going to be pretty much it, I think, for today. Let's go here and check this box beds out real quick and kind of show you where we're at. I have not done any work on the box beds all winter because I've had so many other things going on. But I'll just go over here and show you. So, spin around here. Box beds are still in the exact same condition back over there behind me. I do need to get the shovels out here, and I will start going through turning them over by hand, since there's nothing in there right now other than this one box bed right here. This one right here has got a whole bunch of cilantro coming up in it that just comes up wild every year. But the rest of this, it's all just, weed ground cover that's come up. I gotta come in here and turn that all over by hand. I'll probably pull a bunch of this. This actually is purple dead nettle is what a ton of this stuff is, which I didn't think it grew this early. Purple dead nettle is what a bunch of this is. So I'll probably pull a bunch of this, and I need to see if the chickens will eat it. I think they can. And I'll take that to them. Then right here behind me, this dirt spot, I'm actually going to put this frame right here in that dirt spot. And I'm actually going to create for the most part, I'm going to try germinating my tomato and pepper seeds outdoors this year instead of under the grow lights in my basement, because my neighbor over here, he's probably 80 years old now, he always germinates his seeds outside and in one of these like black pots over here. That's the compost bin, in one of those black pots. So that's how he germinates his seeds. He takes them outside, and they do fantastic. Just like how whenever I have volunteer tomatoes come up here, they come up and they do better than my tomatoes that I've germinated in my basement under the grow light. So I'm going to try doing that out here and just do it in this spot. I'm just going to cover it. I'm going to put weed barrier all the way around it, fill it with good quality soil, and I'm going to make a top that goes over the top of it that's totally sealed up around to keep grass and weed seeds and things from getting in there and contaminating it. So we'll see how that works, but I'm probably also going to do some in one of these black containers as well, and then just put some screen over the top of it and set it out here somewhere and just see what it does. I mean, he's done it for years. It's worked for him, and he was talking to me about it last year. I was telling him how I was going through all the effort of having these grow lights and trying to keep everything warm, and when things get to a certain size, I'm moving them outside for an hour today, 2 hours tomorrow, 3 hours the next day. And he's like, boy, you don't have to do that. Just let them grow outside. They'll come up when they feel like coming up. And once they come up, they're already hardened off. I was like, well, sounds like a good idea. So when we get to that point, I will probably do I may not do a separate series on that, but I'll definitely start showing you how we're walking through that. Anyway, now that's it for this video today. I'm going to get in here. We've got to get some things done. I got to get to my parents' house, go take care of my dad's rabbit. And then, what is that dog doing? She's always bringing something to the house that she's found to chew on. Carcasses of all shapes and types. She drug a possum carcass over here the other day. Left it on the front door step, just like, I brought you a surprise. Here you go. Anyway, all right, well, that's it for today, everybody. Thank you so much for coming along. Drop a comment below. Let me know how your late winter heading into spring is going. If you're dealing with some of the same kind of stuff that we're dealing with here and just getting things ready. But thank you so much for coming along. Greatly appreciate it. Have yourself a blessed day. See you next time.